Hello dear students, this is a new series and this is a series from Flutter framework. So in this series we will introduce the Flutter and also we will have a project in this series. We will start from the beginning of the programming of Flutter, and also we introduce the Flutter and the widgets, the Flutter framework, and also the Dart programming languages. So this series will be a project-based series tutorials. In this series we will cover everything regarding to the Flutter. So from the first we are going to start from the Flutter. What is Flutter? By one sentence we can define a Flutter. Flutter is a cross-platform application. So what is cross-platform application? So the cross-platform application means that we develop one application and we can use it for multi devices. So and previous method we were using from Kotlin and also Java or Objective-C. So the Objective-C belongs to the iOS devices, and also Kotlin and Java programming language belongs to the Android devices. So it was very challengeable that we develop an application for both devices. So in the previous method we had to program by Objective-C for iOS devices and make applications for Android devices by using Kotlin or Java programming languages. So that was very challengeable, and also that was very problematic and also hard. So but nowadays in recently years we have Flutter made by Google, and the program language that work behind the Flutter is Dart, and also Dart is made by Google. So this programming language made a framework by the name of Flutter. So Flutter is a framework that make applications for both devices, or we can say by Flutter we can create our applications for iOS devices, Android devices, and also web app application devices. And also we can make applications for our computers, and also we can create applications for Linux operating systems and also Mac operating systems, and also we can create applications for Windows also. So nowadays Flutter is very important, and in the market if we see there's a lot of developers. So in 2016 or 2018 Google spread it or broadcast a news regarding to the Flutter, and that news the Google told to the world that we have about 2 million developers of the Flutter. So by this result, by this research, we can say that Flutter is a wide area, and it's very easy to learn, and it's very easy to create our applications, and also it has more facilities. The widgets that's inside the Flutter, they are very important, and also they makes our job very easy. So this was a basic introduction regarding to the Flutter. So why we use Flutter? In the past I mentioned it, that why we use Flutter. So nowadays we use Flutter to avoid from extra coding and avoid from spending our times on different programming languages, and avoid developing different frameworks for different iOS. By Flutter we can make one applications for multi devices. This is why we use Flutter. The next question is, what programming language is Flutter based on? So before I mentioned that Dart is developed and made by Google, and Flutter also based on Dart programming language. So Dart is a programming language. We can say that Dart is a C family programming language, and also Dart is given from C programming language. Google made a lot of facilities in Dart programming language. So the syntax are same as Java programming language, C programming language, C++ programming language. So it is same as these languages that I have mentioned. So this is why we use Flutter, and everything has its advantages and also disadvantages. So the Flutter also has some advantages and also some disadvantages. So at first I mentioned some advantages of Flutter. So here at the first we have code base for all platforms. So it means that we don't make codes or different applications for different devices. So in here we only create one application, we only perform one coding for all platforms and all devices. So it is the one of most advantages of Flutter. So the second, it's all widgets. Principle offers countless possibilities. Flutter also has a lots of widgets. This is why the Flutter is familiar and famous among the people in the world nowadays. This is why, because the first reason was the cross-platform, and the second reason is it is widgets. Inside the Flutter we have a lot of built-in widgets or classes that these widgets help us to make our applications, our things that we need in our applications. So it makes our job easy and our development easy to done it. So the third thing is that that's very important in Flutter, that is rich libraries. So Flutter has a lot of libraries inside it. So there is the reason that nowadays people face to the Flutter and they are using from Flutter. The fourth thing is fast testing with the hard reload. What does it mean? In Flutter we can test our applications very fastly and also very easily. Fast testing means that we can test our applications, we can debug applications very easily than the previous methods. So this was the advantage of the Flutter. And the next slide, and here we are going to talk about the disadvantage of the Flutter. So the first item of this advantage are large file size because of widgets. If we install the Flutter in our machine, so we can see that it has a lot of files and also it takes more storage. So the important thing is not in our machines, in our computers. So if you use from any of Flutter applications inside your cell phones, so you can see that those applications made by the Flutter, it takes a little bit more spaces. The second things or the second disadvantage is that Flutter always needs for updating. So updating of the Flutter is a little bit complex. So in the next videos or in the tutorials in the future, we will see that how to update our Flutter frameworks and applications. The third item is limited set of tools and libraries. So and the advantage, we told that there are a lot of libraries that we have inside the Flutter, but in here it also mentioned that limited set of tools and libraries regarding to the disadvantages of Flutter. What does it mean by the limited set? So if we see the libraries of the Flutter, each library has its own functionality. There are a lot of libraries, but inside each library has functionality or one method. This is why that Flutter tell us that limited set of libraries according to the disadvantages. So we have a lot of libraries, but inside the libraries we have only one method. If we need to something else or some methods in our applications, we need to mention some other libraries. This is why our widget or our application size getting more and a little bit take a large size. These are the disadvantages and also advantages of the Flutter. So in the next slide we are going to talk about the companies that nowadays they are using from the Flutter. One of the big company and all over the world is Google. It means that Flutter is a little bit effective and also efficient than the previous methods like Kotlin and also Java. So there is a lot of companies that they are using So I don't know about some of them. Groupon company, Alibaba, I know about a little bit about Alibaba company. The next is Capital One. So these are the famous companies that nowadays they are using from the Flutter. Why they are using from the Flutter? Because Flutter is effective, and also it has a lot of facilities in development, and also it prevent from time spending or time wastage in developing the application. So this was a basic introduction about the Flutter. In the next tutorials and the next videos, we are going to talk about the installation of the Flutter, and also install the Android Studio, and we will have artificial cell phone on Android Studio. So in the next video we are going to talk about these topics. So wish you all the best, have a good luck.